Hey beauties, welcome back. So today's video, I'm going to be creating my first official fall makeup tutorial. I do have a couple of new products that I want to share with you guys in today's video and will be using. I have used some of them off camera, but for the most part, you guys have not seen me use them on camera yet. However, today's eyeshadow is going to be surrounded by the new Nars palette. This was launched in combination with their mascara, the Extreme mascara from Nars, which I do not own, but I did decide to pick up the palette. And what I find so cool about this packaging is that here on the back part, when you open it up, you get a little preview of the eyeshadows, which I think is really cool. So there's that. This is the palette that we're going to be working with amongst some other products as well. I will be also using their foundation, and if you have not seen the review and wear test on that, you definitely should check that out. But with all of that being said, we are just going to hop into today's video. So surprisingly enough, I did not moisturize or put any SPF on this morning. And the reason being is because I wanted to use this. This is the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base, which some people use as a primer, but it is a moisturizer. And I have used it before off camera, but I'm gonna be using it today for you guys. I think the formula of this is so nice and it goes on so smoothly. So we're gonna moisturize on camera today, and we're also gonna apply a little bit of SPF on camera as well, because I always talk about applying my SPF, but you guys rarely see me do that. So I just wanna kind of show you guys that I really do apply it. But I'm gonna put a generous amount of this on my face. It just makes my face feel so smooth and soft. And also, it smells really good. But if you're not into scents, then you probably would not like this. So that was a nice, base and texture and just everything about it. It was just really nice. I do have the little mini size. They do have a bigger version of that, but $22 is a steep price as it is. And I don't mind that I got the smaller one, just because, I like the product a lot, but I don't see me going through it that fast. Now I'm gonna apply a little bit of SPF. I'm gonna go ahead and use this little mini one. I believe I got this at Sephora. This is the Lancome UV Expert. Actually, I didn't get it at Sephora. I got it at Ulta as a birthday gift. It is broad spectrum SPF 50, which is very high on the spectrum, which is good. And then it's also a primer and a moisturizer. So in a way, we're kind of double moisturizing. I'm just gonna take a little bit of this, or a lot, I guess, and I'm gonna put this on my face. Normally I use the Drunk Elephant on Brashear physical sunscreen, but I wanted to test this out and see how I felt about it. Definitely makes my skin glowy, which is nice. I do like that. And I like the fact that it does not leave like a white cast. The Drunk Elephant one that I use definitely gives you a little bit of a white cast, but I do like to mix that in with another product of theirs, which is like the de-bronzing anti-pollution drops or sunshine drops. I like to mix that in with the Drunk Elephant one just because it takes away the white cast and it also gives me like this bronzy type of glow. But this one is really nice. Blended nicely, nice and smoothly. So of course, because I didn't do my moisturizer or the SPF beforehand, I didn't do my brows. So I'm just gonna go ahead and fill them in really quickly. I am gonna speed this part up. To do my brows, I will be using the Maybelline Brow Ultra Slim Pencil. It has a spoolie on one end and a really small defined pencil on the other, which I am so into. So I'm just gonna real quickly fill these in, and then we can move on with the rest of the makeup. So I went ahead and also primed and set my lids to prepare it for shadow, since that's what we're gonna be working with next. I am gonna go ahead and open up this Nars palette. So this is what the palette gives us and is looking like. I think it's very beautiful, deep, vampy. You have nice selection of colors to work with. So today we're gonna go in with this tan shade right here, and then also grab a little bit of this peachy one right here, just to create some type of transition in our crease. So I'm gonna lightly tap my brush into both of those and then start blending this in my crease. I am using a Morphe M441 to do this, and I'm just again gonna put a light layer just to create that transition. Now that we have those two shades nice and blended out, I'm gonna go into this purple one in here, and I'm gonna tap my brush into that, tap it off obviously, and then I'm gonna start working this shade right here on the outer corner and into the crease, but not all the way into the crease, just really on this outer, you know, part of the eye, and just start defining this outer area. So I'm just going to work my brush in circular motions right here. As you guys can see, this shadow does have quite a bit of pigment, which is good. So I'm just gonna focus on blending it out. Not gonna add too much of this shadow on just yet. I just wanna slowly be able to build it up and blend it out. I am gonna go back in with a little bit more, just to make it a little deeper. And I am noticing that there isn't really any fallout on my face, but there is a little bit of fallout, or kick up I should say, in the pan. So if that bothers you guys, then I guess that's something to note. But for me personally, it doesn't really bother me. And considering I'm doing my eyeshadow first, if it were to like fall out underneath my eyes or whatever, I can definitely clean that up before we get started on the base makeup. But again, I don't really see any fallout with this palette or the shadows. I am gonna switch over to a M433, and since it's a more like shader type brush but still has a little bit of blendability, I'm gonna use this just to kind of define the outer parts of this outer eye a little bit, and just try and blend that a little bit more. Now I want to deepen things up a little bit, so I am going to go ahead and grab this darker shade down here, and I'm going to pop that as well on the outer part of the eye. I did switch brushes for this just because I want to get a little underneath the crease of my eye and just focus it on this lower part of the eye instead of in the crease. Hopefully all of that made sense. Like basically I want it on the lower part of my eye and not my crease, or above my crease. You guys get it. I'm creating some definition down here and just adding more color. Now it's time to think about what I want to do for the inner part of the lid. I'm not gonna be cutting my crease, but I will be putting a shimmer shadow. I don't know if I wanna do this orange one. There's a purple one, and there's like this deep bronzy kind of gold one. So these are the three different choices that I have. I can do purple, I can do orange, and I can do bronze. I feel like since I've always gone with like bronzy tones, I'm gonna go with the orange. That seems to look good. So I'm just gonna take the M124, and I'm gonna first try and apply it with no spray. I've been applying my shimmer shades with no spray at all these days. So let's see how this does. Let me actually just use this. It's there, but it's like, it's not intense. So I want to try spraying it down. I'm just gonna use the ColourPop. See if this makes a difference. I don't think I can tell you guys the last time I sprayed my brush for a shimmer shadow. It's been so long. I don't think it makes it too intense, but it's definitely doable. Could it be better? Yes. It's definitely better to spray your brush than to not spray it, just because you get better pigmentation, but it's not gonna be over the top. It also makes the shadow a lot easier to work with in a way as well. It just makes it smoother to just like put on your lid. There was definitely a lot of kick up in the pan with the shimmer shade. Now I'm going to try and deepen the outer part of my eye just even more. So I'm gonna go back into that other Morphe brush that I was using. Even though the black has a little bit of shimmer in it, I want to grab a little bit of that, not too much, because I don't know how intense it'll be, and then just tap this on my lower lash line and then blend it out. Then to help further blend it out, I'm going to go into that deeper shade that we used on the outer corner and just help blend out the black, because I don't want it to be like a full-blown black outer corner. I just want a little bit of definition. Now that that's done, I don't know if this is gonna make a huge difference or not, but I did receive this Stila Smudge Stick waterproof eyeliner, and I kind of want to use it on the outer part of the eye as well, just to add a little bit of a smoky winged liner if I can. This is in the shade Vivid Smoky Quartz is what the shade name is. So I do want to try this. I did get this in BoxyCharm for this month of September. So I'm going to try and use that really quickly. Again, don't know if it's going to make a difference or not, but I guess we will see. I think it's safe to say that I did enjoy using the Stila liner. It's not black, but it's a very, very dark, deep brown, and the pigmentation on it is really good. It's definitely there. I think it will look best, or even better, to just use it for like a smoked out wing liner with no eyeshadow, but that's a thought for a different day. Now I'm gonna put on my lashes and my mascara, but before I do that, I do want to show you guys like a little hack or trick. If you're someone who likes to curl your lashes, especially after you have them on, or if you're like me and you put them on and you do this thing to kind of lift them so that your eyes look more wide open and they honestly look better, I'm gonna put on these ones. These are the Miami lashes. Well, they're Miami Flare. I do enjoy using the regular Miami lashes from Lilly Lashes, but we're gonna use these today. These are new, so I do have to customize it to my eye. So basically what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your lash, you're gonna take your lash curler, and you're gonna curl your lash before you even put glue on it, before you even put it on. That way you don't have to worry about doing it later when they're already on your eyelashes. You don't have to worry about it pulling or tugging. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that and just squeeze it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And that should be good. And it lifts it for you. And then all you have to do is put your glue on, pop it on your eyelashes, and you're good to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my lashes on really quickly, and then we can come back and finish the rest of the base makeup. So my lashes are on, and now we're gonna move into the foundation. I am going to be using the new Nars Soft Matte Complete Foundation. And again, if you guys have not seen the review on this, you can definitely check that out. It'll be linked down below. I'm gonna put a little bit on the back of my hand. I don't know why I do that, even though I'm using a sponge, but we're gonna take our beauty sponge, tap it into the foundation, and then start pressing that on our face. I really do like the coverage of this foundation. I like even the fact that it looks so natural, but yet so matte, and it's very comfortable to wear. It's not uncomfortable whatsoever. So I do like that aspect of it as well. This is just, again, I'm saying again because I did mention this in my wear test video, but it is the perfect foundation for fall for me. And it just helps keep all the oils at bay. It lasts so long, you guys. I don't know. I really do love this foundation. Nars snapped with this. I wish I had shown you guys the amount of product I had on the back of my hand. When I tell you guys it was a little dot, it was only a little bit. So if we were talking pumps, if it did have a pump, it'd probably be 1 pump. That's it, if that. It is very obvious that this is a go-to foundation for me. And if it's not yours, the question is, why not? I mean, I don't understand. So now that this is all nice and blended, we're gonna move on to our concealer. For concealer today, I have something different. I have used this before, but haven't used it in a while. This is the Pretty Vulgar concealer, and this is in the shade it's their Undercover concealer in the shade the middle ground. So I'm just gonna take this and apply this underneath. Now this concealer is not a full coverage concealer, but I don't mind that. And it's very creamy, blends effortlessly, and I'm really into it. So I'm gonna take that same sponge, but I'm gonna use the pointy side to blend this out. Guys, see how effortlessly this blends? It's like tap tap and it's blended. This is not a concealer that I let sit just because I know it's not full coverage, so even if by letting it sit a little bit, it's not gonna be any more fuller than it already is, so. Moving on to cream contour, I'm gonna go ahead and use my Huda Beauty. This is the Tantour Cream in Fair. I still have not gotten a lighter shade, or darker shade, not lighter, but this still works for me. So I'm just tapping this on and pressing it where I want it before blending it out with this BoxyCharm brush that I obviously got in BoxyCharm, but this is from their personal line. So I'm just using this to just press it into the skin where I want it, not necessarily blend it out just yet. Once I have it placed where I want it, then I'll go in with the same brush and then start to slowly but surely blend it all out. If I need to, I can just go right on top of it with my beauty sponge just to make sure it's all blended out seamlessly, but for the most part, this brush does do the job very well. One more cream product that I want to use is the Flesh Beauty Glisten drops. This is in the shade Candle Glow. So one thing I did find out about these drops is that it can be purchased on Flesh's website. I'm not too sure about Ulta anymore, but I know on their website they do have it. So if you were curious or wondering from my previous video of me mentioning the fact that I may not be able to repurchase, I can on their site. So now that I have it all where I want it, I'm just gonna take my sponge again and just use that to just blend it out. I prefer to put my cream products on with the rest of my cream products, even the highlight, because I can always just go in with more highlight later, like a powder one. I don't like to put it on top of powder. I'm just more accident prone that way, I guess. So I like to play things safe and just blend it out at this stage. Blends out nicely, so it gives a little bit of a glow. Especially if you're the type to not really set your face too much, then this will be perfect. So lately for my powder, I've been liking to mix both of these. This is the Wet n Wild Translucent Powder. This one is translucent, obviously, but it gives like that nice soft blurred effect. And then I also like to mix it with this one. This is the DermaBlend Illuminating Banana Powder, because it does just that. It illuminates your under eyes and any area that you use to set this powder with. And it kind of has like that yellow kind of tint to it. So I like to mix the two so I can get both effects instead of just choosing one or the other. So I'm gonna make sure my under eyes are blended nicely. Then what I like to do is just take this one, dip it lightly into there, and then I will grab the other one, dip it directly into that, tap it on the back of my hand, and then start to press it underneath my eyes. So you see the difference between this eye and this one? Obviously this one's set, this one's not, this one's glowy, this one's not. It still it has that like blurred effect for the under eyes, and it just looks so good. So now that everything is pretty much set, we are going to take it a step further, and we are going to go in with the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Finish Setting Powder. And I'm just going to take this big fluffy brush that I believe I got at like TJ Maxx, and I'm just going to run this all over my face. This is going to give that blurring, smoothing effect to the entire face versus just being underneath the eyes, and it's going to help, you know, lock everything else into place. So just a little bit of this definitely goes a long way. You could use like buffing motions like this, and that's really it. So that's all for the powder. Now we're going to move into a bronzer. I have the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer here. This palette, which you guys know I was obsessed with at one point. So we're just gonna take the bronzer shades out of here. By the way, I think I lost this shade in a video, but that fell out and broke. So don't mind that. But I'm gonna take my bronzing brush, which is the JH02, yes. And I'm gonna take this, and I think I'm gonna mix both of those top bronzer shades and bronze up my face. So this just is gonna add a little bit of warmth back into our skin, so we're not looking so one-toned. Because sometimes with the powder, even though we cream contoured, considering it wasn't really a darker type of cream contour, I do have to re-intensify it with some powder afterwards. So I'm gonna put that down before I go overboard. And then all we have left is blush and highlight. So I have two different blushes here because I was unsure which one I wanted to go with. I have this one from Burts Bees, which is more of like a natural brown tone blush, which I think I might go with. And then I have this one from ABH that is actually a bronzer in Saddle. This just adds a little bit more depth. So actually I think I'm gonna go in with this one. I kind of forgot that I pulled this out, but we're gonna go in with just a little bit of this. I am gonna take it on the JH07 brush just because I really like this one. It gets pretty defined, and I'm just gonna focus it in the hollows of my cheeks back here. This just gives, again, a little bit more definition. It's matte, it's not bronzy like the bronzer that we actually use. So you can kind of consider this like a contour in a way, which is what I like to use this shade for. I thought I had pulled the ABH blush trio, but in fact Burt's Bees is the only blush I pulled. So I'm gonna take a little bit of this. I'm gonna pop it on my cheeks as my blush, you know, just focus it mainly on the part closest to my ear instead of really close to my nose, if that makes any sense. Not very high on my cheekbones, just more to the back, like right back here. I just feel like it gives everything a different look, a different vibe versus being right up here on the cheeks, but I still like to take it right here on my nose. So before we finish our base with highlight, I am gonna spray my face down with the Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Setting Mist from ColourPop. Now I'm gonna go in with this highlighter from Steve Laurent. This is the Jelly Highlighter in Prosecco Please. So it just looks like this. This has more of like a jelly kind of formula, and then you can use your finger. So it's kind of not a cream, but it feels like a cream. Or you can go in with your brush, which I find I have to like really work into the product and then apply it. So the only thing we have to do now is our lip. And of course, it wouldn't be a fall look without a nice, somewhat of a vampy lip. So let's go ahead and do that. I am gonna use the KKW Beauty Lip Liner. This is in the number 2, so it's nude 2. And I'm gonna use this to line my lips. Now that we have that, I'm gonna take a little brush, just a random one, and I'm going to kind of blur out the edges. For lipstick, I'm gonna use the Fenty Beauty Matte Lipstick in I Quit, which is a nice pretty brown, and I'm gonna put this on. And then just a little bit of the L'Oreal Infallible matte lip cream in Sweet Tooth in the center. I'm gonna take that same brush and tap. I almost forgot to do my lower lash line, so let's go ahead and take care of that really quickly. So for my under eyes, I'm grabbing the purple and peach shade that we use, blending that all across the bottom lash line, Then I'm grabbing a little bit of that deeper like reddish brown in the palette that we used, and I'm smoking that on top of the previous two shades we just put down. Then I'm taking a little bit of the black and I'm smoking that on the lower lash line as well, but I'm keeping it to the outer corner. I am not bringing it all the way in. Alright beauties, so this here is the finished and final makeup look. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section down below. Now for me personally, I will say purples are not my shade. Like I don't play with purples too much, and we definitely played with a lot of purple gray tones today, which I'm not 100% mad at. Now when it comes to the Nars Extreme palette, I will say the pigmentation on these shadows is definitely there. They blend very nicely together and by themselves. Also, I do want to say that there is, again, a lot of kick up in the pan when you are using these shadows. So that's just something to keep in mind, especially if it's something that bothers you about an eyeshadow palette. I also want to touch base on the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base. I do love this product, have been using it. Now, I didn't even mind using it as a primer, although I did go in with the Lancome. That's a moisturizer, primer, and SPF. I kind of considered both of those a primer for today's video, and I think the makeup came out very flawlessly despite the fact that I didn't use an actual primer. So that's something to take note of as well. Let me know if you guys have any other fall related video suggestions down in the comment section down below. I will make sure I get those done and filmed for you all. But with all of that, I am going to close out today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it once again, and I will catch you guys in the next upload.